What's up everybody, Chadley here, and we are entering our last few days of the Farming Frenzy event here in Borderlands 3. So with this event, you guys are going to be getting a ton more legendaries, especially from dedicated drop sources, as well as those legendaries being anointed way more often. So some of you guys might be overwhelmed with stuff to farm, so I just wanted to make a list for you guys, showing you guys what is probably the most important stuff to farm right now during this event. This is just going to save you guys tons of time in the future farming and just overall make your lives so much easier. If you guys currently aren't playing Borderlands 3 but plan to come back in the future with more content, I would still highly suggest coming back just for the next week, just so you guys can get your hands on all these good items and make your return much more pleasurable in the future. Now real quick before we get into the video, we do have a sponsor for today's video. Sponsors allow me to keep making videos for you guys and also keep a roof over my head. So just want to say a huge thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now your first time loading up Raid, you can be a little overwhelmed, so I just wanted to show you guys some cool places to go when you first load into the game. Now one of the main places you're going to want to go is to the Battle tab in the bottom right hand corner. Here you can go ahead and select from the campaign, dungeons, faction wars, arena, and clan boss fights. In the campaign tab, you can increase the XP of your new characters and enjoy a fully voiced story. So one of the cool new things with Raid is you can now play Raid both on mobile and on your desktop. The game is cross-save, so you can play with the same user and switch between devices whenever you want and however you want. The graphic quality on PC is amazing and the game is super fast as well. So make sure you guys go to the video description, click on the special links, and if you're a new player, you'll get 200,000 silver and one new free champion, Grinner. Grinner is a super badass champion you are getting absolutely free, so go ahead and make sure you guys go click those links. They're only available for the next 30 days. After you guys download the game, all the treasure will be located in the upper right hand corner of your home screen on that treasure chest icon. So I have 3 categories for you guys to focus on here for the last few days of the Farming Frenzy event. We're going to start with the least important out of the 3. All 3 are definitely important in my opinion, but we're going to start with the least important and work our way over to the most important. So to start off, we're going to have getting all the shields and grenades with anointments that you possibly can get, especially the action skill and bonus elemental anointments on those shields and grenades. Right now, these are hands down some of the best anointments in the entire game. Most of the builds in the entire game rely on having these action skill and bonus elemental anointments on them. Really, the only builds that don't use these action skill and bonus elemental anointments that much would be a Seeing Dead Zane build where you plan on keeping your action skills up at all times. Also, there's a couple Moe's builds, but now with the buff to some of her anointments, Iron Bear is much more usable for getting in and out and activating action skill and anointments. So a lot of hers are starting to use those now as well. If you guys happen to come across a shield or grenade with a bonus elemental action skill and anointment on it, definitely pick it up. Try to collect all of the shields and grenades with all of the different elements. Now I know this is definitely a lot to do, but just get as many as you can and you guys will be much more prepared for the future. We never know what grenades will get buffed or nerfed. Hopefully no nerfs, but in case they buff anything, you never know what's going to be good in the future. So definitely just collect as much as you possibly can. Now one other anointment to be looking out for would be on grenade throw, 25% bonus damage. This is really good with Moe's, as most builds with Moe's you are throwing grenades at all times, so it's 25% bonus damage at all times. Then also Zane, where you're keeping your action skill up at all times with him. This anointment is really good, as whenever your Digiclone or Sentinel throws a grenade, it does activate the anointment. So just keep that in mind and keep an eye out for those. Now moving on to the next thing you're going to want to focus on here in the next couple days would be farming rare spawns and Circle of Slaughter loot. Right now, if you happen to not be aware, rare spawns are now guaranteed spawns. So this makes farming their loot incredibly easy. Now just to note, I have come across a couple rare spawn enemies who do seem to not really drop their designated items that much. It definitely seems a lot lower than other rare spawns here in the event. One in particular, Princess Tarantella, I was farming rerouters and she would drop them fairly often, but they almost never came anointed. Now I could just be incredibly unlucky, but I had gotten probably over 20 rerouter drops and only got, I think, maybe 2 or 3 of them to be anointed. I noticed this at the very start of the event and was hoping they would fix that for some of these enemies, but it does not seem like they have. So if you guys are getting really unlucky like that, try not to kill yourself farming for them. But if it's an item you really need, definitely just keep doing it. Either way, this is still going to be our best time because we do not know if rare spawns are going to stay after the event. And then if you guys have tried to farm Slaughter Circle bosses before to get certain items, you know how painful that is and how time consuming it is. So right now is definitely the best chance you have on getting those items if you need them. In my opinion, some rare spawns and Slaughter Circle bosses you guys should focus on would be Borman Nates, Power Troopers, and Tremendous Rex. Borman drops one of the best guns in the game, the Cutsman. Now he's normally a pain in the ass to farm, he almost never spawns, at least for me. So just having him guaranteed spawn is really nice and it makes getting the Cutsman so much easier. Now I've also always had trouble farming the Power Troopers, but now that they spawn every single time, they are seriously one of the best farms in the game for at least their designated items. There are times I've gotten 4 or 5 anointed legendaries from them in one run, so it is really nice to get any of their designated loot, which includes the Star Helix, Vanquisher, Hyperfocus XZ41, Thunderball Fist, Destructo Spinner, Nova Burner, Surge, and the Transfusion Grenade. Now I know none of those are really meta right now, but the Star Helix, Hyperfocus, and Transfusion Grenade are actually really good items, and I would definitely try farming some of those guys. And then for the Tremendous Rex at the end of the Cistern of Slaughter, they will drop the Lyuda, which is probably one of the best snipers in the game, especially in terms of boss killing with snipers. So another trick you guys can do if you don't already know, if you guys kill the boss at the end of the Circle of Slaughter with other enemies remaining and you die, you can just start over that last round instead of all of the rounds. Either way, it's still a little slow, but it's definitely faster than going through all the rounds again. So that, on top of the increased drop chances, makes farming the Circle of Slaughter loot much easier. Now finally, I think you guys have probably been prioritizing this already, but in case you haven't, right now definitely prioritize farming the takedown. This is mainly because we don't know if the takedown is going to stay scaled down to however many players there are playing it. So if it goes back to always going to scaling to 4 players and you guys weren't really able to beat it before, you really need to get your grind on and just keep going through it and trying to get some of the best guns from Wotan. The main 2 guns you guys are going to be looking out for is the Redistributor and the Kibsworth. The Redistributor right now is definitely the best SMG in the entire game. This thing just destroys, especially if you set it up with a good anointment on Zane. That's probably the second best build in the entire game right now is Zane with the Redistributor and his bonus cryo element on it. And the Kibs is almost a necessity on Moze, as right now the only way she can really survive in this endgame stuff is using her skill Vampire, which gives you life based on hitting certain number of enemies with your grenades. So having grenades at all times is really nice, and to get grenades back you need splash damage, and the Kibs is definitely the best on dealing splash damage the quickest. So that's why it is definitely one of the best guns right now, especially for Moze. Now if you guys already have all the things you need from those 3 categories, or if you just really want to focus on one specific item, in the description I will have a link to a spreadsheet that lists all the different legendaries in the game, where to get them, what they do. Also, unique items are in there as well if you keep scrolling down, and every anointment in the game is also on there listing what it does. It is an incredibly helpful resource. I use it basically every single day, so definitely go check that out if you just have one specific item in mind. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I really hope you guys get all the items that you need here throughout this week before the event ends. We all know how frustrating it can be just kind of dealing with the RNG gods and not really getting the guns you want. So right now, while they're mildly in your favor, definitely go farm the items you need. Hopefully this gave you a sense of guidance on what to focus on here during this week. So if you guys found this video helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. If you guys want to see more Borderlands content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're in the description looking at the spreadsheet, definitely go ahead, click on the links to my Twitter and Discord. I would love to see you guys over on those 2 platforms. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.